Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the studios of Grafton Community Television. This is Meet the Candidate. My guest today is the current town moderator. Her name is Dawn Anderson.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We've got all kinds of stuff to talk about. Hopefully we won't run out of topics because we've already done the show before we went live. Assuming that everybody in town knows who you are and what you do, give me 30 seconds. Town moderator, what do you do?
As town moderator?
Yeah.
Town moderator is responsible for overseeing town meeting. I actually met with the town administrator's office today to talk about the upcoming warrant, what, if any, special things we need to be on the lookout for. We coordinate with the location at Grafton High School and try and do as much to get everything ready so town meeting runs as smoothly as possible. And then the day of the meeting, I'll be there to oversee the actual event.
Okay. Does the town moderator do anything other than town meeting?
In support of town meeting, other than that, no, not really. No, I have had.
Don't you choose?
Oh, yes. Okay, beyond town meeting, I also serve with the town clerk and the chair of the finance committee to appoint the applicants to finance committee.
That's what I was thinking.
And
Okay.
then there's also has been on occasion, not since I have become moderator, where town meeting will decide that a committee needs to be established to look into something. And if that happens, then the town moderator would appoint people to that committee.
Okay. All right. I understand you have a new job since the last time you came in, which was when
Yes.
you ran the first time.
Yes.
So you have a new job.
Yes.
What's that?
Last summer, I took a full-time position with Scholastic Education Solutions as the product marketing manager for paperbacks, collections, and classroom libraries. So when you go into a school library, some of those collections and books will be from Scholastic, but primarily we focus on classroom libraries, making sure that a classroom library should have a minimum of 750 quality books for the kids to choose from for their independent reading or even nonfiction extension reading. So we provide pre-set collections that meet certain needs, whether it be science or social studies content or culturally diverse content. And we also have instructional libraries that include resources for the teacher to facilitate discussion or do assessments or do activities and things like that. So we have a flagship program that's titled Rising Voices Library, that each one of the collections gives a voice to the historically underrepresented voices in literature. So we had our first program was for celebrating Black and Latino boys, so all of the books in that collection, it's for kindergarten through grade 5, and each grade has 25 titles with 2 copies each, and every single one of the stories has a boy, a Black or Latino boy, as the protagonist, as the hero of their own story. And that went so well that they expanded it to empowering girls in STEAM. And they have books where all the titles feature girls in a science, technology, engineering, arts, or math background. For the programs, we have what's called mentors, advocates for the program that kind of support the work that we do and will go out and do personal appearances in support of the collection. So for STEAM, we have a scientist, an engineer, and a mathematician. And for the arts, we have Tatiana Ali, who is the actress most known for The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And for our Celebrating Girls of Color, our mentor is an amazing educator from the Savannah-Chatham County Public Schools. She's a superintendent down there. Her name's Dr. Ann Levette. And she is advocates for young girls of color, so all of the titles in that collection support girls of color, Black, Indian, Hispanic, everything you can think of.
Yeah.
And our most recent collection was launched in Puerto Rico this fall, and that is with mentors Suma Arzu Brown. She is an advocate for ending hair discrimination. She lives in the Bronx. And the executive director of the Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents. It's known as ALAS. And they helped pick the books and review the teacher materials. And our last mentor is, you may have heard of him. His name's John Leguizamo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're doing an event at the end of this month with a handful of our mentors from each of the collections to do a literacy summit talking about the importance of diverse books, especially in light of so many classrooms and school libraries having people come and try and ban books. So
Is this the same company that, as a child, they would give you the catalog and you would order the books?
Yes.
And then your mother
Yes.
would send you to school with a check?
They,
Is it really?
Yeah, it's Scholastic. Scholastic has magazines, so
Yeah.
a lot of, I know that Grafton Public Schools uses Scholastic magazines because they were using them. My son has brought them home. Scholastic Book Fairs is still alive and well, and
Yeah.
you can see the trucks going to the schools.
Right.
The Grafton PTG does a lot, handles those book fairs twice a year. And yeah, and they do reading club, which is when you are in the club
Right.
and you get the book little order form, and you can order from there every month and get books.
Yeah.
So
And I'd come home with every box checked off, and
yes,
my mother would be
it's
erasing.
like,
and,
no,
we
you're
can't
gonna have
afford
to
this, yeah.
slow your roll.
Yeah.
You need to, yeah. So yes, Scholastic has been in business for quite some time. So
That's very cool.
Yeah, it kind of just, as you know from my last interview during COVID, I kind of was homeschooling my kids and was looking for things to do, and I took a freelance position doing a LinkedIn invitation to a webinar about finding joy and having joyful conversations around culturally relevant books. And that led to another project, and then they asked me if I wanted to apply full-time. So I went back to work full-time this past year.
Very cool. Are you a lifelong runner?
I am not. I had a bit of a gap. I was a high school track runner and ran a little off and on in my 20s, really got into biking in my 20s and was riding my bike all the time, all through college. Started running a little bit more after college, but then I really got into kickboxing and did that for a few years. And then I was just going to the gym and using gym equipment, and
Shrek book.
and then in 2016, my friend texted me and said, do you want to run the Nantucket Half Marathon? And I said, can I run a half marathon? Because I'd only ever run, the most I'd ever run to that point was a 10K. And I said to my husband, I said, so Anne-Marie asked me to run the Nantucket Half Marathon. And he was like, can you run a half marathon? I said, well, I guess we're going to find out because I'm going to give it a try.
Yep.
And at some point during that 8 weeks of training, to go from being able to barely finish a 10K to finish a half marathon, that joy and kind of zone that you get when you're running just all clicked back into place. And I didn't think I would keep running because the training started in August and the race was in October, and I just kept running all winter, like in gear, in the dark, in the snow. And then in the spring, I signed up for the Ipswich Half Marathon and ran that. And then that following fall, I did the Westport Half Marathon. And then I did Nantucket again. Then joke is I will only run a half marathon if ocean breezes are involved. So we were last going to do it in 2020, but that had to be postponed. And I have not gotten past a 10K since. So I've been pretty focused on 5 to 10K. Although it did pay off last spring because I ran the Grafton Rec 5K, and finally playing the long game of running until you're over 50. I'm in a new age bracket, and I was the second fastest woman in the race
I remember.
in my age
Because
group.
you stopped me and you told me.
Yes. I'm like, can you believe it?
So very quickly, before we get into other stuff, you recently took up guitar.
Yes.
Which Billy found fascinating.
Yes.
In the pre-interview.
Yes.
And then a conversation we had recently on the telephone, you told me at one time you were interested in military intelligence.
Yes, I wanted to join the Army. My parents did not want me to join the Army.
Yeah. But what about military intelligence attracted you?
I just,
Did you see a movie? You read a book?
Tom
Tom Clancy fan?
Few Good Men.
Okay.
Few Good Men
Yeah.
was definitely, you know, an inspiring point.
Yeah.
I just thought it looked fascinating and amazing. And at the time, I was taking classes to be a paralegal. So I thought, I could be in the JAG Corps. That would be amazing. I could be an investigator. It just seemed really good.
Are you happy that somebody talked you out of it?
Yes and no. I think
If you were making a list of regrets, would you put it on that?
I would not put it as a regret.
Okay.
I think that you make a choice every time you're at a crossroads, and you can't ever really say everything would have been better in this direction and nothing, because you just don't know. So it's just
or you would have provided us with really actionable intelligence, which was of quality and, you know.
yeah, yeah. So
Since your last visit when you ran for town moderator, and here you are again running, what did you learn?
I learned that I had a lot to learn about being town moderator.
You and everybody else.
I think
Unless you're Ray
it
Mead.
looks, yeah, unless you're Ray Mead,
was
who
born to be
knows
town moderator,
everything
yeah,
there is to know
right.
about being town moderator. But
Where is he? He wrote the book.
yeah, there's a lot more to it than you think is going on when you're sitting in the audience. There's a lot more preparation than you would think, but not. It's interesting. There is a lot of preparation. I do the research. I reread town meeting times every year, beginning in January, to prepare for spring. But it's, I don't have as much control over what is on the warrant and what the articles are as I am there to facilitate a great conversation about it and make sure that we all stay respectful and open to discussion and ideas. But I don't have the ability to change anything that's like set in planning of town meeting. While I am definitely able to give my input, and you know, we're going to have Grafton High School National Honor Society will be supporting us this spring, bringing microphones to anyone who doesn't want to walk all the way down to the front of the building. I am inviting the middle school again to come to view the Springtown meeting before they go to Washington, D.C., which we
Nice.
did last year, which really got a lot of people to come to the meeting for the first time. Those are things that I can control, but I don't get to control when the meeting is set. That's determined by the town charter and the bylaws. It's in there when it should be and when it has to be. It has to be Monday. It has to be at 7 p.m. There's not a lot of wiggle room for, you know, can't we have it earlier in the day? Why can't we have it on a Saturday? You should just make it on a Saturday.
Right.
It's not my choice. If you want it to be on a Saturday, you could approach the select board and put an article to change the date and time. You could file a citizen's petition to do that. So there's a lot, I have a lot to learn about what is going on and making sure that I keep track of everything correctly, but it's not as much about, like, I don't have as much power as people think I do.
You get pregame jitters?
I get the same, I think after what happened at the first meeting, I really don't feel like anything else could be as dramatic. So I feel like with
You mean
every
when the canopy almost took you out?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was ducking for cover on the stage on the football field,
You kept your hat on.
I kept my hat on. Yes, I love a good hat. I get excited. I don't get jitters. I get excited. I definitely prepare and have, you know, so many notes and so many, like, if this happens, then I need to do this, and keeping track. And since we started with electronic voting, that has made things easier as far as like, I don't have to worry about the count or making sure it's majority. But every time that we've had it, about 3/4 of the way through the meeting, I realized that I don't have to do the math to determine if it was 2/3 because it literally comes up on the screen as the percentage based on the total number of people who voted. And I don't have to do the math. And at the end of the last 3 meetings, I've turned to William and said, I didn't have to count. He's like, I know. You said the same thing last time.
You could have just done it for fun.
Yeah. So one of the things I learned when I was going through my paralegal training was prepping people for depositions. And I actually find that to be very helpful, is that they encourage you, if you're being deposed, to answer every question with the same level of deliberation and pause, so you're not getting rattled. So when I'm faced with something, I try and use the same, don't jump, even if I know the answer, just say,
Tone and tenor.
yeah, just, okay, all right, we're gonna keep it steady. Because I think that me having that steady creates a tone for the meeting too.
When you made the decision to run for another term, was the next question, I wonder if this person's going to run. I wonder if that person's going to run. Do you go through that mental checklist? Or do you just don't even think about it?
I knew that I wanted to do it again, and was not really going to let anyone else's decision influence my decision. So I feel like I've been working hard. I feel like I've been well received, and that I'm doing the best job that I can, and I want to continue doing it and continue growing. So if someone else wanted to run, that's, I'm open to that as well. So, but
you don't spend a lot of time dwelling on it.
I
go
wasn't,
forward.
no, it's like it was my decision for what I wanted to be doing. I did talk to my husband and my kids. They're a little bit older than they were when I ran the last time, and if I win this election, I would have to run again when my son is a senior in high school. So we'll see how that goes. But it wasn't, for me, it wasn't a question of who else is going to run, but all right, guys, we've seen how this has impacted our lives and the time and commitment level that it takes. Are we all okay with this going forward? And they were, so it wasn't really any question for me.
You go to a party or a cookout, not necessarily in Grafton, and it comes up in conversation that you're a town moderator. Has that happened, and what are the questions like? What is your well, yes, by the way, I am.
Oh.
Funny you should ask.
Funny you should ask, because I am going back to Nantucket at the end of the month for the Daffodil Festival with a bunch of my friends. College friends that I've known forever, and a couple of newer friends. And I said, we were making our plans for the weekend, and someone said, oh, this event's sold out. Does anyone know someone on Nantucket? And I said, I know the town moderator. And someone wrote back, my friends from college were like, of course you do. I said, yeah, of course. I met her at the Mass Moderator Association conference. Like, I don't know her, but I know who she is. And one of the people who are not familiar with my role here wrote, of course Nantucket has a town moderator. Is that to keep people from drinking too crazy? I said, like everything in I said, no, town moderator runs town meeting. There's one in every community in Massachusetts that has an open or representative town meeting. And she wrote back, and this is on this group text chain. She said, what?
Can he get his tickets or not?
And I said, she goes, how do you know that?
Right.
And I said, oh, I'm the town moderator for Grafton. And then I took a screen capture of the town website, because the new website has a picture of me from the fall of 2021 town meeting. If you hover over the button for town meeting, it's a picture of me. And I said, I sent it to her with a circle, and I said, that's me. She's like, I I don't even,
have no
I don't,
words.
I have no words. I don't know how to respond to that. Yeah.
That's
so,
a great story.
and I have had people who know that I'm town moderator say, "Can you get things under control?"
Crack the whip.
Yeah, that's not my role here.
Yeah.
This is a
Okay.
child's birthday party.
Yeah. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. That's your camera. Talk to the town. Tell them what you need to do, and we'll wrap it up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dawn Anderson. I'm running to be reelected for your town moderator. Over the last 2 years, I feel that I have learned there's a lot to learn about being town moderator, and I look forward to serving again for the next 3 years.
Nice job.
How'd I do?
I think it was perfect. You got the job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
On behalf of all the talented people that work here at Grafton Community Television, thank you for watching. I'm Bob DeToma. This has been Meet the Candidate.